So it's with the new character that we see this guy start to unravel a little bit. His new character was a fighter/sorcerer multiclass. Cool mix, very sword and sorcery. I can get behind that, but I noticed something on his sheet that rubbed me the wrong way. With the starting gold I allowed him to have, he had made sure to bring several vials of silver sheen, which would turn a weapon silver back in 3.5e to mess up some werewolves. Now, the only reason he had those was because he thought we would be fighting more werewolves. He had been in the rogue in the previous session, and there were 2 other people who turned at the same time as him who escaped out of the city. Now, I didn't have plans for them to come back anytime soon, but the fact that he walked in with a character with items specifically meant to counter what he thought he would be facing when I hadn't even made that available to anyone else yet raised a bit of a red flag for me. I also noticed that he had really good stats. Now, everyone else had rolled 3d6 in order, their decision because it would be interesting. And he walked in with nothing below a 12, doing a 4d6 drop to low, and he can assign. I didn't have a problem with this in and of itself, since I had told them they could do whatever they felt comfortable with, within reason, for rolling stats, so I brushed it off as whatever. It honestly wasn't the best timing for him to come in since it was almost the end of the semester and they were 1 session away from the ending, but whatever. I had a mini side quest to allow the party to run into him. They were stopping a trio of vampires from stealing a magic mystery box, and Problem Player's character sees a vampire running to ambush the party and joins in to help. Neat. So they beat the weaker vampires when the stronger one walks out of the shadows. Impressive. But I will be taking that box now, for my master. Who are you? What's in this box that's worth killing over? You don't even know what you hold. I cast Ray of Enfeeblement at him. 17 to hit. That misses. The vampire dodges it and says, I see you're spirited, but I cast it again. 15 to hit. At this point, I was starting to get annoyed. Like, come on, man. I was trying to drop some important info for you to set up the next part of the story. Your party had questions that you wouldn't let the guy answer. So I figured, you know what? The vampire charges the problem player and drains him for 6 constitution points before escaping. I was hoping that an aggressive response to that behavior would teach him a lesson not to interrupt and start shooting spells off like a murder hobo. Regardless, the party thanks him for his help and asks him to join them in working for the town guard. Maybe later. I'm kinda tired after that fight. I'll find you guys later. Maybe. And he just walks off to sleep at the inn for the night. The rest of the party was confused as to why he was resisting joining them. It wasn't for character reasons. No one at this table had any kind of backstory that could have been summarized in 1 or 2 sentences, but there wasn't anything that they could really do about it, so they just left him. I was confused too, and things were supposed to be happening soon in the game that would require him joining the party sooner than later. So I ended up running a mini side plot where he meets the leader of the Thieves Guild, who gives him some info that he could then take to the party to help them integrate him into the town guards easier. That didn't go as planned. Through some bad rolls and poor planning on his part, he was caught by 2 thieves walking directly to the town's guards' barracks. The Thieves Guild leader was also being corrupted by the god of murder, so they were quick to jump to assassination. When he eventually made it to the town guard HQ, his first words to the party and to the Raven Guard, the leader of the guards, was, I worked for the Thieves Guild, but I wanted to join the guards. Now, remember that Raven Guard was slowly becoming corrupted by the god of murder. This was making him more paranoid and more prone to violence and mistrust, on top of the city falling apart around him, adding to his stress. So when this guy walks in saying, I'm a spy you never heard of from the Thieves Guild, his first thought was, I'm not buying that. But for the sake of the plot, I had Raven Guard say, the validity of your claims will be seen tomorrow. The party will look after you, and if they vouch for you after then, I will hear what you have to say. For now, you sleep outside. Okay, rough start, but we are on track now. So the next day rolls around, and they are given the task of arresting people throughout the city for a massive execution. An easy mission that would mostly be role-playing that would allow Problem Player to get to know the party better and for them to learn about him and come to like him like they did his paladin. But when the party walked up to the first house, "Can the rest of the party see me?" I guess not if you want to be behind them." "Okay, I ran away." "Huh?" "Yeah, I don't like this town. I turn my back on them and run." Confused silence for about 15 seconds. I guess, do we hear him? Roll a listen check. 19. Bottom line, he got away, faded into the crowd, and the party had no reasonable way of finding him. "So you've left the party. What do you want to do?" "I leave the city. My character doesn't feel safe here. Everyone wants him dead." "Okay, so back to the others." And I continue with the game. He then starts to angrily erase his character sheet, mumbling about how he spent 3 hours on this, as if it was my fault he left the party. I think he wanted me to run a side story of him, but I had nothing prepared for anything like that, and I wasn't going to delay or take time away from the other 3 people at my table to make stuff up on the spot for him. And what was his reason for leaving? Oh yeah, that his character didn't feel safe in the town? Yeah, that's kind of the point. The town is going to poop, and you need to pick sides if you want to survive. Every character has been put in danger by another group. They've been targets of assassinations by thieves, extortion from the nobles, ambushed by were-rats. Man, his last character was abducted by cultists. He knows exactly what his character was getting into with this city. Or how about the simple question of, why is your character an adventurer if he runs at the first sign of danger? And it's not like there's no safe haven for him. The party went out of their way to be nice to him, and if he had made it through this day, Raven Guard would have just accepted him as a town guard right then. But hey, I'm not going to force you guys to stick together if you want to bail. That is your decision. You can live with it and the consequences. And the kicker? He walked into this session with this new character sheet, and the session began with his old character dying. But he was still obviously salty about his paladin dying, because he complained to me that there isn't any party cohesion. No one even tried to save my character. I will refer to you to part 1 to illustrate that this point was not true. Oh, and did I mention this was all one session? So yeah, I understand that this part is not quite as interesting, but trust me, from here on out, it goes from mildly inconvenient to straight up absurd, cheating, and game breaking. Honestly, I think he just didn't like the 6 constitution point drain, and probably wanted to trash the character so he won't be weak again. He was just making excuses to probably cover his tracks. But again, that's just my idea. What do you guys think about this session?